This is a little different video, people. This is a dirty Q-tip. My wife has something on the TV right now about juvenile offenders. It brings up a lot of memories. Now, as a juvenile, I was arrested twice, I think. Once, they called the sheriff's department. We lived in the county. We didn't live in the town. And the guy was actually pretty decent. I mean, he was really nice about it. He put the handcuffs on me. He says, "I'll take them off when we get to the car." And he did. I didn't believe him, but he did. And that was for, well, the charges were assault on a peace officer, destruction of public property, and trespassing on public property. That was at my high school. And the other incident, I had escaped, gone AWOL, as we used to say, from an institution that I was in called the Devereaux Foundation, which I was in for 3 very long years. Then the psych hospitals that I was in as a youth, and the schools and other institutions I was in as a youth, all but one were, frankly, hellholes. As an adult, one particular hospital, Nick's Specialty on Vance Jackson in San Antonio, that's what that reminds me of. I mean, gosh, you had to keep your mouth shut. You know, they didn't know how to take care of psych patients. One guy, he was, talkative, and they told him to shut up and go to his room, and he couldn't. He was anxious, and he was manic or whatever. So they told him if he didn't calm down, they would inject him with something. Well, even though he went to his room at that point, they still took a, and just in case, they had like 5 or 6 people in there to help out. At that same hospital, there's this lady that I actually knew at Solera, when I was going to Solera, which was a pretty good place to go. I got a lot of help there. It was on North St. Mary's in San Antonio. But this lady was in a wheelchair. And she was at Nick's. And she wanted to call Advocacy Inc., which is the organization that's supposed to defend patients' rights, which they don't do. And she was not out of control. She was simply demanding that her rights be upheld. So what happened? One of the staff members and several got other staff members, and they literally threw that woman to the ground on top of her, just bang. And then they injected her with something, and they put her in restraints in an isolation cell. And she wasn't doing anything wrong. As a youth, what you see on the TV, what they show you, they're only showing what they want to show you. You don't get the story behind everything. You don't get that kid's story, because they're going to edit all that stuff out. And the abuse at the Devereaux Foundation was horrendous. Physical abuse, sexual abuse, psychological abuse. The entire time I was there, I had one legitimate academic class. One. For 3 years. And that teacher was not there the next year. This warehousing, that's all they do. Austin State Hospital, 8 years old. Because of something that today you wouldn't get stuck in a nut house for. And the abuse there was horrendous. I did a medication study, and you had to be inpatient for a week. Thankfully, they had their own unit, but it was at San Antonio State Hospital. Like I said, they had their own facility, so to speak. They had like dorms, not the old buildings at state hospitals. These were newer. Just because they have new buildings doesn't mean anything's different, because they have the same idiots that work in these places. Idiots that could not get a legitimate job anywhere else. They couldn't even get a job at McDonald's. A lot of them are gangbangers or just street punks. They're just losers. I'd say 98 to 99% of the people that work in these places are losers. You know, the one hospital, two hospitals, out of one hospital system that was good in San Antonio was Methodist. Methodist Specialty and Transplant Center and Methodist Metropolitan. Those were good places. When I was a kid growing up, Edgemead in Mineral Wells, Texas, and from what I understand, the organization actually is still around, but that campus is closed. When we drove up here, the first time we drove up here, we actually went to where the facility was in Mineral Wells, and the two barracks that we used as dorms were gone. Well, we only used one of the barracks when I was there. We were working on the other one to open it up, but I left before they opened it. The gym was gone. The swimming pool was gone. The administration building was still there. The rec hall was still there, but the rec hall looked like somebody used it as a house. But, and I'm not saying there wasn't abuse there, but it was minimal enough to say, well, frankly, life there was better than my life at home. In the other places, I mean, if I was at home, if I was in the institution, abuse, just different kinds of abuse. You know, so I see this crap, and I tell you, I've been there. Protect your kids. Don't send your kids to juvie. Don't send your kids to the psych hospital. Things that kids get in trouble for today are things that we got in trouble with our parents. We got in trouble with our teachers. But we didn't get locked up. Well, I did. But most people didn't back then. And then we all grow up to be good, decent human beings. And I tell you what, the people that abused me, if they ever showed up at my front door, they wouldn't like what would happen to them. If those idiots that work at Nick's, you wanna claim that I'm not telling the truth, you come and deal with me face to face, one-on-one. Not in the institution. I'm going to teach you a lesson. You're nothing but punks. And people like that need to be behind bars. Not working in psych hospitals, not working in youth treatment facilities, as they call them now. Brings back a lot of bad memories. But anyway, so that's all I have to say on that.